ice and carved in bane. Not beasts alone, of gods we claim, but echoes bound to ash and flame. Through northern winds their whispers call, beyond the veil, beyond it all. Fire in the sky, truth we can't deny. Raise the flame, let the old gods hear us. Dragons wake in the blood that steers us. Myth or truth we stand between. What was lost and what has been. Call their name through night and storm. Ancient power taking form. In every tale, in every spark, they still live within the dark. Long ships sail through mist and fear, but something greater lingered near. Not just in battle, not just in lore, but something older at the core. Every culture, every land speaks a flame they don't understand. Different names, but all the same. Eyes of fire, breath of flame. What if the sagas told the truth? What if the fire never died? Beneath the earth, beneath the seas, in ash and bone, in memory. Raise the flame, let the old gods hear us. Dragons wake in the blood that steers us. Truth or myth, we cross the line. Through the fire, beyond all time. Call their name through night and storm. Ancient power reborn in form. Every legend leaves a mark. We are the flame inside the dark. From the ashes of the old world, we speak the forgotten truth. Welcome to Dragon Theories.
Okay, here we go. Where's my, there we go. Alright. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Dragon Theories. This is episode 1. This is going to be a separate podcast, but this is, as you see on the screen, joining me is the only other owner of this podcast, my boyfriend and future husband, Nova.
Salutation, everybody.
Now, let me explain. I know we said we would put it in the MIK-O theory, but since we have a cover image which was made by Nova along with that song, so we will make this a whole podcast series on called Dragon Theories. Now, the name of the podcast will only be appearing in the description, as an introduction in the description, and also on the image, of course. But this is a podcast where we talk about myths, legends, and hidden truths that might, or forgotten truths, or truths that come from theories such as what we're gonna do, and possibly create another point of view for people. So, it was Nova's idea to do I remember it was Nova here's idea to do one on dragons. So, you want to start us off?
Hmm.
Like, what do you,
But
what, we should probably start, like, what is, what do you think dragons would look like? Like, would they be scaly, feathery, you know? Would they be, like, various in size, depending, would they
yeah,
actually,
I do believe that if dragons were real, but I do believe they are real, but hidden.
yes,
And
because
depending
they,
on region, on what side of the earth they are, there are different type of dragons. There are serpentine legs, like snake with legs but no wings. Um, then there can be water dragons that are beneath the water, like oceans.
well, I believe that some dragons can have wings, and some can't.
Yeah,
Like sea
yeah,
serpents could, like how sea serpents don't have wings, but they can slither on and off land.
yeah.
But I believe that not even all fire dragons have wings, had wings. I believe there are different elements that even some that we don't even know of that they could be. And well, I believe that they have been contained. The ones that are left were contained, and not because we won't be just because we won't be aren't ready to see them, because I believe they did. Hang on,
But
Facebook going off.
dragons,
But I
they are
believe that
like,
I believe they were contained due to being not because we would be scared, not only because we'd be scared of them, but because the people that contain them are currently keeping them in captive, want to use them to their benefit
yeah,
and
and
control.
like, yeah. But the dragons that are free, I do believe that dragons hold the knowledge of entire universe.
Hmm.
I do
I
believe that.
believe they actually were kind of like, how do I put this? I believe they were, but do you believe that dragons were the true gods of the of this world, or do you think that they were kind of like just uh savage animals that always hunted for no and killed?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I do believe that dragons they were evolved for like dinosaur era when the
Yes,
meteor hit. I do believe that the dinosaurs did well. Some of did die. There are evidence of that,
but
but
you believe that some of the dinosaurs that possibly that you believe lived have evolved and kind of like migrated to somewhere safer where they can restart and regrow the community and kind of like their DNA altered and generated to dragons.
yeah, and
And,
because that can be true because there is no current evidence, but which makes me sad because if people would actually look into this specific idea about dragons, they would be searching more evidence. But I do believe also that they are looking for evidence, but they do not know from where to begin.
you know, I this might sound crazy, but I
Mm.
believe that Komodo dragons are actually a sign, hence the name Komodo dragon. I believe that they're just a downspout of dragons, which kind of, because you got to think, why'd they call it a dragon if they kind of like, why would they call it a Komodo dragon
Yeah.
if they, because I don't think that like the dragon, the word dragon was created for no reason, but they never really have. They see. I read up a bunch of stuff, and they're like it's for more of like a religion of worship and belief. But So, guys, me and Nova believe that dragons are actually existing. I didn't see the point that he brought across, the theory of what he brought across, how dinosaurs evolved into dragons after the big crash of the world of their lives. But it's like my theory with the megalodon. The megalodon, how I think it survived any kind of catastrophe because it was in the water. But what if the enough dinosaurs actually made it into, I don't know, like a stable cave that got blocked off but had food and water, and then was able to live until it was over. So it and it, yeah, I kind of can see that, but it's pretty much like the megalodon. It moved to the deepest part of the ocean. Well, you can also we talked about that in the other podcast called MIK-O Theory podcast. Check it out. But um, but it's like my megalodon theory. It could have gone somewhere else where it figured it could be
Yeah, but we
safe.
are getting sidetracked now.
No, it has to do with it because you said it survived. In my theory with the megalodon, it survived in the same way where it could have gone somewhere safer until it all blew over, and then it evolved.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying is like, is that what you're kind of meaning? Like it kind of like went to somewhere safe where it knew it would live?
yeah, like mountains, cliffs, coastal updrafts, volcanic or thermal regions.
And actually, have you heard the theory? We'll probably make another podcast on this, but there's you know how they say we evolved from a prehistoric era of being completely different, of some kind of, I forget what the, like some kind of ape or whatever, or we evolved from monkeys, but there's not proof of that. But it would kind of, I don't know, it kind of interests me, but how we evolved, gain knowledge. What if dragons we call are what say the fact that we say they're wise is because they've lived, literally lived, giving knowledge to their young ones as they evolved and grew. So that's why
Yeah,
they say wise as a dragon.
yeah, and I do believe that dragons represent the storms, fire, floods, and earthquakes.
Yeah. I believe that um there are signs of when a dragon is near.
Yeah,
And the
and
one
what
that
brought
I
this up, this whole idea of this dragon podcast, is the accident, like the Australia fire
mm,
that was really bad.
yeah, but it's like they were very vague with the details. Hang on, let me bring up my browser real quick and share
Yeah,
my screen.
and like they didn't tell how, like they were speculating how it started.
Yeah,
But
they just
what
said a
I
fire. It
believe,
was like a desert fire or forest fire. But the question is, do they know? I know about that forest. I read up on it, and it's like it. There are very few fires there. Like
yeah,
it's usually like very moist, and it's like
yeah, but this
if it
fire was really angry.
yeah, but if it's moist, it shouldn't catch fire at all. Or if it does start a fire, it would go out almost immediately. So it's like that's and they didn't say like they didn't say they were they didn't even know. They basically say that they didn't even know.
Yeah,
They
and
said
like,
it's an unknown. The cause of the fire is unknown. So they assumed, and then they said they assumed it was just a forest fire. But I read up on the forest, and that was like the first forest fire that was that bad. It spread fast. So the question is, if they don't know what caused it, and we're doing a theory right now, only something that can, in that moistness, it has to be like non-stop blast of fire on the ground, not just like a campfire that blows in the wind. It has to be an unrelenting force of fire and heat from the fire,
yeah,
non-stop blasting. So what if it was a dragon fighting over a mate?
Yeah,
Because that's
but
I believe that's how they fight over mates. They don't just claw and bite. I believe they shoot fire to show its dominance over the other male to win the mate.
yeah, but I do also believe that they don't necessarily use fire breathing to fight, but only to defend. So it could be
Oh
a
yeah, they might. One of the dragons might have had a young one,
yeah,
or it was
hatchling, as
being
they say.
yeah, or there was an aggressor. Because
Yeah,
though they don't like to use their fire for fighting, they, I believe they were territorial. So it might have entered its territory.
yeah,
Random dragon might
and
have entered its territory and it felt like it probably shot fire in front of it, and then the other one shot fire at it to warn, and then it turned into a firefight.
yeah,
So, yeah, there's like,
and
hang
I
on, let
do
me search
believe
that.
that after the fight and the enormous fire, they um like hit their tracks, clean their tracks, because they are wise and they don't want humans, us, to go after them.
Oh, it was back in what caused forest fires in Australia in 2019? Isn't that when it happened?
Yep.
When it happened so much? Because it happened for a whole
Mm-hmm.
year. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Okay, let me Climate Council. We'll see what they say. Okay. It was the one led up to January 2003. The act endured one of the most droughts. Yeah, Australia. Hang on, where did it say it was? Let me share my screen. I'm going to minimize the. There we go. We're going to do that like that. All right, let's do that. All right, and then I'm going to do a screen capture. And we're going to check this out because I actually did find a website that I found. That's where I heard it from. Just a second. All right. All right. Look at this. So, let me actually. It's not it. Let's just. All right. So, move this. Okay. All right. So, what it says right here, there, what it says is low rainfall in, and that was in January 2003. From 2017 to 2019, Southeast Australia experienced its driest 3-year period on record. But when I looked on the news, they didn't say anything about it.
Mm.
They didn't say it. They said like later, and look, a drought would not cause the most destructive necessarily. Okay, it wouldn't necessarily cause that much destruction because the thing is that fire needs like an endless source because the reason why if you like set a small patch of grass on fire, it's like it needs an endless source. And it
Yeah.
was like normal. I did an experiment once with my friend Donnie when he was alive. What we did, and it was like a, fire those fire science tests or whatever
Yep.
experiment. What we did is we took actually, that hay, dry hay is the most flammable over
Mm-hmm.
grass. We took hay, like a decent patch of hay, and around it we put fresh, uh, fresh, uh, we put dry wood, like flakes of dry wood, and then out on
Yeah.
the outside we put sticks, dry sticks. What it did, and it, and we did, we didn't put any fuel or any flammable chemicals on it. So
Mm.
what we did, we lit, we put a match, threw it down, and there was no wind, because that's how a drought would be. There wouldn't really be enough wind to spread it.
Yeah.
But what happened was we did that, and this fire spread very quickly. So if there's really a drought, it would not, it would take a long time. So, but they said it had spread so fast. So in order for that to do, if it was that destructive, even a forest fire takes a little bit to spread. So,
Mm-hmm.
so in order for it to be that destructive in its history, let's read how much it destroyed. Severe, bone dry. But let's be honest, if a drought from even in like 5 years for a forest like that, for any forest, big forest, the drought would have to go on, let's see, driest 3 years. It would not, if for it to go bone dry or even almost bone dry, it would take about 4 years for it to be that actually no, 4 or 5 years in order for it to spread fast and be that destructive. It's kind of like lava. It's like that would, if there was a volcano there, then it would spread the fire faster because as the lava moves, there's more heat. But
Yeah.
it's a forest, and there's no volcano around that area. So the question is, are they trying? It's cause so if you think about it and believe in like medieval dragons and all that, they are basically, it's like a phrase in, it's kind of like the what they said in Twister, the breaker of the world or whatever, because their fire is the, as far as I believe that their fire can be destructive beyond belief if they use it, which is why they don't like using it when they fight, because they don't want to destroy things. But if their life is literally about to be on the line, is so close to being to like on the line dying, they will use it, I believe. But the question is, this sounds like they're, because look, it says in the lead up to January 2003, the act endured one of the worst droughts in record history. Rainfall was at record lows. Yeah, but there's still rainfall.
Yeah.
Even if you have rain every half a year, it won't be that dry enough to actually cause a fire.
Yeah.
Even in like 3 years of a drought, because it could just rain doesn't take that much of a gap between each other, even in a drought. So, but it says just 40 millimeters compared with an average of 150 millimeters on 18th of January. Canberra experienced the most destructive bushfires in its history. Now, this one, I looked it up.
Mm.
This one was a desert. So of course they're not gonna have rain, but it's like the desert part. The fire started in the desert part. It was not even near forest. I looked up the mapping. I looked up all the area. The closest forest to where the fire started was probably about 50 miles from there. close to 50 miles. And it started 50, like about 50, 55 miles away from the nearest forest. So, and then from 2017 to 2019, Southeast Australia experienced its driest 3-year period on record. The tinderbox drought was severe and pushed rural towns to the brink of running dry, set a stage for bone dry conditions. But Black Summer bushfires 2019-2020, which burned more than 24 million acres of land. They're trying to bring up, so low rainfall. They brought up the forest, they brought up the desert the first time in 1990s, because in the 1990s and let's see, 1990s there was a desert there, nothing but desert on that land. And then in 2003, the forest was just starting. So they brought up the desert, the little bit of the place where it's like, you see how they're saying 150, like 40, no,
Yeah.
40 millimeters? It was 40, about 40, 45 miles away from the forest, because the forest was just starting. 2020, 2017, 2019, what they're saying, Black Summer bushfire, there's a difference between the bushfire in the beginning of that, of the two paragraphs, and the 2017 and 2019. The 2017 and 2019 is the forest, but they brought up the desert, and the desert is where it started. They're trying to deceive people, but if you look on everything, you will find out there, you'll realize they're probably hiding something. Because the top two paragraphs, low rainfall, they're like talking about a desert. Then the second one, they start leaning into the forest, like making it sound like it's forest, but if you think closely, it's not. Because in 2003, the forest was just starting and it was actually further away, like small, way smaller than it is now. It still was pretty big, but it was still far. Now, and at the end of that, they say like it's a forest, but and it is they're making it sound like it's a forest. Because listen, so it says the tinderbox drought was severe and pushed rural towns into the brink of running dry. It set the stage for the bone dry conditions that contributed to the Black Summer bushfires of 2019-2020, and which burned more than 24 million acres of land and led to the deaths of 33 people and almost 450 due to smoke inhalation. But the question is, why didn't they bring up in the first paragraph that it was a civilization? And if you scroll up, yeah, listen, it actually says. So, a longer fire season. Hotter conditions mean a longer fire season, leading to more dangerous bushfires and leaving less time for hazard construction. But the question is when it says a fire needs to be started, ignition, it needs something to burn, fuel. Um, but it's like, and it needs conditions that are conductive to its spread. And it says dry, windy weather. And it says climate change primarily driven by the burning of fossil fuels. Coal, oils, and gas can affect all of these factors in both straightforward and more complex ways. But the question is, the forest that they had is a walking trail. There's no camping allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, and they have high security there. It's not like police always drive around there. There's a bunch of stuff. So the question is, what part of the area are they talking about? Because first they bring up the desert, and that's actually where it started. And it's like they're definitely hiding something. So that's the main reason why we're bringing up this podcast, because me and Nova here believe that a dragon, or like whether it's territorial defense or whatever, was in effect, and kind of like they burn the forest because it's like it started in the desert, so it's like and nobody really can live in the desert. Nobody. I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
they. It's really it's like very hard to survive in the nearly impossible to stay in the desert. But this desert is like you know it's got to be a dragon because it's like a fire breathing dragon. So it's like they are definitely hiding something. So obviously that leads to it obviously kind of proves that there's more to that. It might and that it could be uh the legend of dragons because dragons are the only things in history that we think can cause that much damage because they are literally the fire breathing dragons are like they can their whole breath and their lungs are like literally full like big lungs and it's like they can blow fire for a long time so they can cause so much destruction if they wanted to
Yeah.
so there's no
But
question.
here's a counterpart what
Yes.
people think about dragons and their quote unquote fire. Some say not fire, but chemical spray or superheated breath, similar to bombardier beetles.
So the question is but some people also say that dragons are mythical beasts so
Hmm.
and some people say they're magical. Question is that if it so magic what if magic was forgotten a forgotten was a myth and a forgotten truth what if magic still exists but we just have to get the sense and find the dragon heart find our dragon
Yeah,
heart because maybe it's like the dragons are awaiting because they're like maybe they're mentors that they want to show reteach the meaning to humankind and they get the sense
yeah,
that whoever's walking towards them are like the wrong person, so they fly away or run away before they can get there.
yeah,
Like
and
you
like,
are worthy and you are not.
yeah. But there is also a thing I love, like to believe that if you save a dragon, if you come across to one, but
Yeah.
if you save a dragon and it can offer you something, but if you are injured and the dragon senses that you are kind-hearted, it can give a piece of its heart, which will mean that you and the dragon will become one,
Yes, but
basically.
I actually kind of believe I believe a different way of a dragon and a human to become one, and that is not by it saving your life, by a dragon saving a human life. It is you know how to train how to train your dragon did that. I feel like
Yeah,
it's where, you know, it helping out everyone, but also proving your proving the worthiness of being noble, loyal, and all that. But also
yeah,
so that when you get that sense that a dragon is near, which is hard to come across the feeling necessarily, but they say that if you sense a dragon nearby, you will know that feeling. But some people, I believe that some people had that feeling but ignored it. Therefore, and that's why people are always changing their ways from good to kind of like iffy and bad because the dragon denied them, and the basically the dragon that was calling out to that person got ignored, so the dragon basically kind of like cursed them a little bit to try and devote a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
So, because I believe that dragons are but are like mythical in the sense where they are more like mentors and kind of like teachers of right and wrong and loyalty and everything positive. So they want to help, even if it means like agony being the teacher, because they want to they are determined by any means, and they mean well. They just, since they're such ancient beings, ancient creatures, they are they are very strict, and uh, and that's what I mean by like people ignoring the call. That's, and I believe that's the part where we forget the truth of there being magic. We've lost our way from the magic. Therefore, when we feel the call, we
Yeah.
don't we ignore it because we don't know what that feels like anymore. So the dragon actually goes away and summons a type of disciplinary curse.
Yeah. And what if magic is real? What are dragons? They wouldn't be a biological creatures in the normal sense. They
But
would
what
be
if they are the ones
fire.
that created it?
Yeah. So like they would be embodiments of natural forces such as
Yes.
fire, storm, time, shadow, and light.
Therefore,
Not just using
they would
magic,
be
they
gods.
are magic.
Yes,
Hmm?
therefore they would be they would be gods because
Yeah,
they have
and
the power to build or destroy or to connect or divide.
yeah, they don't age like animals. They
No.
accumulate knowledge over centuries or millennia.
Do you believe dragons can die eventually? Or do you believe that if they gain enough experience, they keep living until that experience has lost? Do you
I
think
do
they're
believe
I believe that they're immortal
dragons,
until they prove the opposite of what they're supposed to be.
but I believe that they do die, but not as fast as humans or any animal
Yes,
in natural
well,
cause.
the reason why I believe they can and can't be immortal. I believe they can be immortal because they can live. I believe they have immortality as long as they can. I believe that dragons can also lose magic. If basically
Yeah,
what I believe in that is because I believe their magic is what makes them immortal, and when they lose their magic, I believe they slowly start getting slower, weaker, and that's how they die because they lose their
yeah,
their connection to immortality
yeah.
and
And
themselves.
if they would be mentoring how it would work, why dragons would teach humans, not out of kindness, but more likely humans are short-lived but adaptable. Dragons may see humans as students, tools, successors, or experiments.
What if, you know how some people still believe in magic profusely in their, whether it's adult or child?
Hmm.
What if the more people lose belief in magic, the more dragons lose their immortality because people are losing the sense of magic. And that's why we don't see a bunch of them, and that's why they might be hiding off
Yeah,
and only calling to
and
us.
there, and like if you could get mentored by a dragon,
Yes,
mentor dragon wouldn't be soft or friendly.
right.
They would be demanding, possibly cold or indifferent. They might test you harshly, let you fail on purpose, value strength over comfort.
Right.
And like think of less teacher and more like ancient being deciding if you're worth the knowledge.
Exactly, I can actually see that. Because the reason why dragon, because you've heard of dragon slayers, like dragon hunters.
Yeah,
I believe that the dragons were able to defeat most of them, but what if the dragon hunters only went after the young so they couldn't progress more? What if, but at the same time, what if the dragon hunters were trying to claim that magic for power? And that's
yeah.
why, and the dragons ended those dark ages of medieval times.
Hmm.
So that but at the same time, you know how I said they don't care the cost.
Yeah,
What if they did that and that's how the magic got lost? Because they destroyed everyone in those Dark Age medieval times, except the people that didn't see magic or believe magic. And those people actually evolved and created the next generations.
yeah. And if dragons and magic are real, society changes completely. Governments might seek dragon alliances. Some dragons become legends and others hidden. Power imbalance, a human trained by a dragon, would be extremely dangerous.
Yes.
And knowledge becomes more valuable than weapons.
Right. But
And old stories are no longer symbolic, they are records, such as history lessons, they are records of what happened in history.
mm, mm.
And
but real quick, we're gonna take a break because I want to get my friend is here, Matt's here. So I will be right back in a we'll take a quick break, but uh,
or we
let's
could continue in next episode.
oh yeah, good idea. So all right. So thank you guys for watching. Like it says in the description, if you enjoy this, leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the bell. And also, if you have any topics of mythicality, or forgotten truths, or anything you want us to like anything from medieval times or mythical creatures or anything legend-wise, let us know and we will put it in the Dragon Theory podcast. But that is going to have to do it for us for now. So stay safe. Oh, and also, if you guys have any opinions to add on to this episode, put them in the comments below. And the most intriguing and one that we have, uh, and the one with the most sent, one that we can really get into, we will bring up the top three. I mean, we will bring up in the next Dragon Theories episode. And but either way, leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. So, bye bye.